And for this technical session, I would like to request and welcome Dr. Rebati Raman Paudel, Director General of Department of Agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, to chair this technical session. Thank you, sir. And for this technical session, I would like to request Anju Adhikari, Srijana Neupane, and Bisal Shrestha to take the responsibility of rapporteur. Dr. Paudel, you can now lead this technical session. Thank you. And we'll follow the same guideline. You have 15 minutes to finish your presentation. Please kindly finish your presentation with that timeline. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to chair the session. And we have 3 presentations. I think if I'm not wrong, first presentation is Dr. Durga Devkota, and second is Umanath Sharma from AFU, and third presentation is Bhaniswor Pokhrel, Dr. Bhaniswor Pokhrel. And as we have deleted 15 minutes for presentations, and I think it is sufficient time for presentations. So yeah, and there are 3 rapporteurs here. So I invite Dr. Durga Devkota for our presentations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebati, for inviting me here. So, very good morning and warm welcome to everyone, those who are here to listen my presentation. So, my presentation title is GESI and Youth Entrepreneurship in Horticulture Crops in Southeast Asia. And there are these are the contents of my presentation. Now, I think these are the definition of gender equality and social inclusion. I think at this stage, everyone we know about how to define these 2 different terminology. So I will skip here because of the time limitation. When we talk about the GESI policy for youth entrepreneurship, Constitution of Nepal 2015 has declared all citizens as equal and provided a mandate for GESI to bring women, persons with disability, marginalized, vulnerable, and excluded communities into the mainstream of development. Nepal has also shown legal commitment to GESI by ratifying international conventions, including conventions on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women and United Nations conventions on the rights of persons with disabilities. So there are 7 major sectoral ministries, for example, agriculture, education, forest, health, local development, urban development, water supply and sanitation. These all ministries have issued and are implementing GESI policies and guidelines. Basically, when we talk about the gender equality and social inclusion, we have to focus to those areas, and we have key 3 basic steps. First of all, we have to identify the excluded and reasons for their exclusion, designing and implementing policy, institution, and program level responses is the main key steps. Monitoring and evaluation, redesign and continue monitoring evaluation. These are the 3 main key steps while we incorporate GESI concept into our project. So how GESI policy can be effective? Adopting policy and guideline into practice, Government of Nepal, development partners and actors of private sector should ensure to adhere policy so that all citizens will be into the mainstream of development as ensured by constitutions of Nepal. Targeting gender-related issues through mainstreaming of GESI approach, which seeks to address the complex situation of caste, gender, and ethnicity, has been a major focus of development programs in Nepal. monitor and evaluate impact of GESI activities. Now, I am focusing towards the horticultural activities in South Asia, South and Southeast Asia, Nepal, but my presentation will be more focused towards the Nepalese context. So when we look from the global context, Sustainable Development Goals has aimed to double agricultural productivity and incomes of the small scale producers. The Sustainable Development Goals were set up in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly and are intended to be achieved by 2030. When look from the South Asian context, horticulture is one of the prioritized subsector in the agriculture. South Asia region has enormous opportunity to grow tropical, subtropical, and sub-temperate to temperate horticulture crops of commercial importance. South Asian countries are trying hard to improve the income, nutritional, financial, and food security of millions of poor rural people through this sector. When we focus to the Nepalese context, agriculture is one of the major sectors of Nepalese economy, whereas horticulture, basically the vegetables and fruit alone contributes 18% to the AGDP. Agriculture Development Strategy 2015 to 35 has prioritized horticulture crops for import and substitution and trade surplus as well. Commercialization of high value and low volume crops farming in the country is getting momentum at present days. Again, Nepal has highly prioritized horticulture subsector, mostly season and off-season vegetables and fruits. Demand of fresh vegetable is ever increasing with continued population growth, rapid urbanization, economic progress, increased spending power from income growth and migrant remittance. Federal government, provincial government, local governments have been prioritizing horticulture sector, mostly the vegetable enterprising is their strategy to retain youth and engage returning migrants in agriculture sector. When we talk about the use of the high-tech tunnel and greenhouse to the commercial cultivation of vegetables, technology-based production practices are critical for agriculture growth and sustainable development in low-income countries like Nepal. In the last few years, commercial cultivation of fruit vegetables in high-tech tunnel house has been increasingly promoted as tools to enhance smallholder farmers' livelihood and tackle climate adversities. Agricultural value chain can give rural youth the chance to engage in productive work. An often overlooked area of opportunity is the green economy. For example, organic agriculture, fruit and vegetable processing, which has the potential to become a growth sector for rural youth. Foreign migrant returnees, mostly from Israel and Korea returnees, I think other parts of the country also they are returning. Especially I am focusing here from Israel and the Korean returnees. They have invested in farm business, including fruit processing. This shows scope of youth in employment in horticulture sector. When we go through the agro processing, particularly value addition of the fruit and vegetables, Nepal has high potentials of investing on processing industries and adding value on fruit and vegetables being produced in Nepal. This is opportunity for youth employment. Women are actively involved in production, processing and trade of vegetables and fruit in Nepal. Horticulture subsector, basically women and the smallholder farmers. When we look from this perspective, it is estimated that over 3.2 million households are cultivating vegetables, of which 17% are headed by the women. It is borrowed from the UK 2020. Horticulture sector, particularly the season and off-season vegetables, are one of the major subsector providing employment and income to women farmers in Nepal. When we look from the youth perspective, both men and women, they are engaged in production and trading of fruit and vegetables. When we look from the significance of horticulture sector from the GESI and the smallholder farmers perspective, there are 4 different significance: employment creation, income, inclusion, and investment. When we look from the area of significance, how employment creation is possible through the horticulture sector. So seasonal employment creation, production and processing, and the trading. When we look from the growth potential perspective, higher due to increasing collective farming and marketing, government focus, for example, co-investment support technologies. When we look from the income as a significance of horticulture sector, fruit and vegetables are one of the major sources of on-farm income of smallholder farmers, especially women. These are the areas of significance, and we look from the growth potential of this sector is ever increasing as reflected by its demand. Inclusion perspective, when we look from this perspective, collective farming and marketing is the area of significance, and increasing market governance, information exchange among value chain and value chain actors. It is from the growth potential perspective. From the investment point of view, even a smallholder and low investment can establish enterprise, for example, vegetables, co-investment policies, private sector involvement, for example, market service insurance might be the growth potential of this sector. There are still some major issues, particularly when we look from the women and the smallholder farmers. For example, migration is the key factors. Ever increasing youth migration in search of employment opportunity to overseas. For example, Gulf countries, Malaysia, India, particularly in Indian context, they are migrating as a seasonal labor. Co-investment policies, unstable subsidy policies, unstable subsidy policies, cumbersome procedures to small farmers. Only about 21% of women have land ownership. When their counterpart are on aboard, they even cannot get loan from bank due to loan ownership certificate. They have lack of the land ownership certificate. If it is needed, they could not get the loan. On availability of the women-friendly technologies, for example, most of the equipment such as tiller, harvester, fruit clipper available in the market are reported difficult to operate by women farmers. Still, uncertainty and high risk due to increasing climate change adverse effects, limited engagement, particularly in market negotiation, women-friendly infrastructure, for example, sitting, toiletries, breastfeeding women are difficult, facing difficulties. These are the if these are absent in custom yard, collection centers, market centers would be difficult to the women farmers. Still, there are some opportunities of the horticulture enterprise. Tap governments, development partners, resource and leverage fund to start and strengthen agriculture, horticulture enterprise targeted for youth, reduce youth migration by creating economic opportunity within the country, application of skills and technology in Nepal that foreign migrant youth learned while working outside the country, establishment of cold store, preservation of the fruit and vegetables during peak season and supply high value fruit vegetables to national and international market during the lean season. There are some required policy and plans for vegetable production, increase access to productive resources, for example, land ownership, loan facility, priority for inputs provisions. Those inputs are basically the seeds and the fertilizer, quality seed and the fertilizers. Concrete policy provisions are missing in most of the guidelines developed by MOLD and local governments. For example, for establishing horticulture enterprise, for example, orchard nurseries, vegetable farming, how women farmers or excluded farmers or smallholder farmers, they will get prioritized and additional support in case of women farmers and those who are differently able people and marginal people. Technology research policies and priorities, particularly for women, are missing in the NARC research system. I got that point. I don't know whether it is true or not. There are some NARC scientists, they will evaluate under this point. Agriculture service delivery, for example, local government need to have specific policies and resources to recruit more women extension workers and local agriculture research persons to provide agricultural services. The current technology demonstration and promotion is led by men farmers mostly. Government institutions, projects like PMAMP need to promote women farmers for technology demonstration and leadership capacity for dissemination. The current subsidy policy do not favor women-led enterprising. Subsidy policies need to be women sensitive, and those who are excluded group, it should be friendly of those the marginalized group and the smallholder farmers. Financial resource allocation priority at local government in horticulture sector is less as compared to other sectors, which need to be increased significantly. Horticultural enterprise, particularly the fruit, is long-term investment. So farmers need to continue support and coordinated efforts between three tiers of the government in terms of technology development, capacity development, specialized services, and the co-investment support. The challenges are there in terms of the youth on horticulture, enterprise, technical know-how, the lack of passion among youth and expecting immediate return on investment and comparing with short-term wage earners in Gulf countries. There are smallholder farmers have difficult to penetrate in large markets, limited knowledge, limited involvement in the policy dialogue. So now there are some of the key findings we have collected from our field data. These are the findings of the FGD findings. I am just representing here the the two different districts perspective. So existing enterprise of the Kaski district, basically vegetable focus area in the Kaski district. So shops, youth are engaged in shops, agrobase and seasonal vegetables retail shops. But when they are talking about their constant in the vegetable farming, unpredictable income, low income, and often considered tedious work, lack of vegetable production related modern and specific technical knowledge. When we talk about the suggestion for improvement, provision of storage, appropriate pricing policies, timely marketing of produce, low or no involvement of middlemen, brokers in market chain, and so on. Now, when we compare to the far western region, Kailali district, they are more focused to the banana production. So basically, existing enterprise of those banana growers are seasonal sales of the banana and other tropical fruit, post-harvest products of the banana chips, domestic wine production, fast food items, for example, momo, and constants are somehow similar on unavailability agro inputs market need-based trainings. Suggestions for improvement, easy availability of those agro inputs, and assured marketing and technical support. Now, the glimpse of the household survey, when we look from the gender role in horticulture production and decisions, equal involvement of men and women found in Saptari district, where in most of the horticultural crop production and decisions determining price of the vegetables and fruit are also participated in Saptari district. When we look from the male alone domination perspective, variety selection of the fruit and vegetables, access to and control over the resources, decision and marketing of fruit and vegetables were solely male alone domination. And now when we look from the Kailali and Devkota districts household survey regarding these issues, in Kailali, both men and women involved in most of the horticultural crop production and decisions, whereas agro input purchasing is the main domain, but in Devkota is quite different. Purchasing of agro inputs were the main domain, and others are somehow similar. Now, in case of Chittagong, everything is somehow a joint participation of both men and women. That was also I could reflect when I did my PhD from Chittagong's case, and I also found everything, almost every activities of the agriculture work are joint participants or joint participation of both men and women if they are available at the household level. So in case of Surkhet, women are actively involved in horticultural crop production decisions along with the participation of male counterpart. Might be the reason of male domination because of the seasonal male migration to India. The way forward, concrete GESI policies in provisions, practices and implementation is required, focusing to youth entrepreneurship development in horticulture. Common consideration may include strengthening post-harvest storage house, develop processing industry and strengthen high-tech systems, training better focus to youth on modern ways of horticulture business to all ages of sectors of this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Getting more times. I think next presentation will be in time because we have constraints of times a little bit. And then I would like to call Umanath Sharma, AFU. Umanath. Thank you. And I think we'll have a discussion after all presentations. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Is it okay now? I'm Umanath Sharma. I'm assistant professor at Center for Biotechnology, Agriculture and Forestry University. I'm also the PhD candidate at Memorial University of Newfoundland, Canada. Today, I'm going to talk on the biotechnological improvements in fruits and vegetables in South and Southeast Asia. So, little bit of background. Innovative approaches and science-driven technologies are basis for the economic prosperity and sustainable development. And biotechnology is a rapidly growing field that proffers both innovation and technology. So when you talk about the biotechnology in horticultural sector, they are mainly in the three sectors that are micropropagation, molecular markers, and the use of genetic engineering. So micropropagation is the rapid multiplication of selected plant material using in vitro culture techniques. So why we use the micropropagation techniques? For the efficient method of plant propagation that gives two-type propagules. For clonal propagation of plants, including for the mass propagation of clonal crops, including those cross-pollinated crops, the benefit is that it will give us the two-type. It helps to create the hybrids, and the haploids, and it also helps to facilitate the recombinant DNA technology, metabolite production, genome editing technologies, and so on. And it is also useful for the wild zone plasm conservation or cryopreservation. The last figure is from the cryobank of the banana cultures world collection that was I visited last month at Biotechnological International in Belgium when I was attending International Horticulture Congress in France. So the micropropagation, a bit of background. It usually has 4 stages: explant establishment, multiplication of microshoots, and the rooting and acclimatization. And it can go one of the 3 pathways. The first is the shoot proliferation, in which the apical shoot tip containing apical bud or the nodal segment containing the apical bud is used for the shoot proliferation. In the adventitious shoot regeneration, we use the explant that is differentiated, like the leaves, maybe roots, embryo, or others. And the somatic embryogenesis is a technique that a bipolar structure containing the radius and the plumule contains in the same somatic structure. So the tissue culture can be done in semi-solid media, in those Sigma bottles, the first one, or in liquid media containing the bioreactors. The second one is I'm using those in my PhD research. So the Grotech bioreactor and the Rita bioreactor that are used that I use for the propagation of lingonberry. So the benefits of the bioreactor are like they are scalable. The automation is feasible on those bioreactors, and large number of plants can be generated in short period of time. So let's a brief overview of tissue culture in South Asian and South Asian regions. In India, more than around 85 companies produce 532 million plants per year, and there is a national certification system for tissue culture raised plants, and which mentors and certifies all those plants that are used for domestic and for the export. And the major crops are banana, sugarcane, potato, strawberry, anthurium, orchids, lily, date palm, and teak. In Bangladesh, it was started early 1970 at University of Dhaka on jute. Now many university and research stations, they work on developing the protocols, and they're working on the banana, jackfruit, gladiolus, orchids, tobacco, papaya, and strawberry. But at commercial level, it's there are a few companies, but it's not much flourished. They're still importing from India. And in the Thailand is one of the biggest player in the tissue cultures, especially the orchids, and they produce more than 50 million plants per year, and they are the world's largest exporter of whole and cut orchids. In Nepal, tissue culture started in 1976 at Godavari, and it has developed more than protocols for more than 100 species. And now different research stations of NARC work on the tissue culture protocol development, including the and also the Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu University, and in AFE also we are starting. It's not started yet, but we are starting, and hopefully we'll get some microprobiotic plants very soon. And private enterprises also produce orchid, paulownia, bamboo, banana, potato, gerbera, and lily. A case of Chittagong, banana is cultivated in 2,076 hectares, but only 15% of that planting material is tissue culture. The Panama disease or the banana wilt is affecting the growers in large extent, and the Prime Minister Agriculture Modernization Project has subsidized 80,000 plantlets, which is less than 2% of the whole cultivated banana in that region. So when using the tissue culture plantlets, the farmers' feedback was very good, and they were robust and high yielding as compared to the conventional suckers. So other part of the biotechnology in horticulture, the molecular markers. So the molecular markers are the strong tools to assess the genetic and epigenetic variations, restriction fragment length polymorphism, RFID, AFLP, SSR, and single nucleotide polymorphism are the commonly used molecular marker systems. The middle three ones, there is a PCR based, and the last one, SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism, is based on the DNA sequencing technologies. So the last one is the more robust because it gives the resolution in the singular nucleotide level. So this is part of work that I worked in the association mapping of blueberry. So while sequencing the 156 genotypes of blueberry, I got 66,216 SNPs. Out of them, only 9 SNPs were significantly associated with the antioxidant activity in blueberry. So in the same way, like the molecular markers, we get the information about the traits, and that can be used for the breeding programs. So they are the reliable. Why you use molecular markers? They are reliable, clonal. They are used for to detect the clonal identity, DNA barcoding, and DNA fingerprinting. And in the breeding programs using the marker assisted selection. And we don't need to wait until it fruits to see the variation. We can only detect the variants in breeding system using the molecular markers. And it can also be used in the evolutionary studies such as phylogenetic, or to determine the population structure. So the genetic engineering is another part of the biotechnology that is utilized in horticulture. Basically, the technique is using the TI plasmid of Agribacterium tumefaciens to incorporate the foreign DNA and to induce into a host that will express that desired gene. So there are other methods of genetic engineering, but this is the most common method used in the plants. So a case of sulfate oxidase that I worked during my master's in tomato, like those overexpression in the middle two line column, they are the overexpression lines for sulfate oxidase, and the last one are the last two are the RNA interference lines for sulfate oxidase. And when we treated with sulfate and waited for around a week, then there were like the symptoms of the sulfate effect was most prominent in the RNA interference lines, suggesting that sulfate oxidase is involved in the post-harvest life of tomatoes. On the other hand, the overexpression lines, they were better as compared to the wild type. So this was more the physiological study in the sulfur assimilation pathway in plants, but it can be used in the post-harvest treatment as well. So let's talk a bit about the GM crops. The genetically modified crops, they are resistant to certain environmental conditions such as the stress and the disease and the pest and certain chemicals such as herbicides. And the GM foods could solve a food security problem by increased yield and sometimes by enhanced nutrition. So they are also useful to produce the vaccine, like the Medicago Covifen is the first plant-based vaccine that was developed in Canada for the COVID-19 and approved by Health Canada. So currently, not very much, most European countries, they ban the GMOs, but some of them, they are using it in the form of products. In Nepal, in November of last year, they approved to import the genetically modified soybean, cornmeal, and the canola for not for human consumption, but for other purposes. In Nepal, it's strict and it's not allowed. And I think in South Asia and Southeast Asia, Bhutan is only the country that ban. In other countries, they are sometimes allowing to use the products, but they are not allowing to grow them. But it's how it is. So in the world, around 190 million hectare of land is the GMOs are cultivated in that land. In India, it approved the GMOs in 2002. First was BT in the cotton, and later on it developed its own version and stopped importing those from Monsanto. So in the Philippines, Philippines is the country that approved the golden rice in 2021. It's the first country to approve it, and there are some like the field testing, they were opposed by some of the groups, and it stopped in 2015 by Supreme Court. But they are still using in certain crops, and they are using some products as well. So the recent genome editing technologies are available that are less controversial, and they are they are the CRISPR based. The CRISPR region is usually the bacterial region that was once a bacteriophage DNA, And the CRISPR-associated Cas9 protein, it directs the to cleave that DNA that is analog to the CRISPR sequences, and the other forms of the gene editing technologies are available. And these two ladies, they got the Nobel Prize in 2020 in chemistry for this technology. So for the sake of time, I'm going very quickly. The challenges, as in other horticulture sector, sufficient funding in research, costly technology, skilled manpower, semi-colonial variation in micropropagated plants, and lack of clear and stable government policies, and less prioritized sector from the government level are some of the challenges for horticulture sector. So to move forward, we can strengthen the research activities and provide alternative for adoption using efficient and cost-effective micropropagation technologies, such as using somatic embryogenesis, so that we don't need the rooting medium. And using the somatic embryogenesis also provides the opportunity to use the artificial seeds, because we can use to pack in the sodium alginate and use the artificial seeds. And using bioreactors that provides the automation, using liquid medium culture, which is cost effective, and government level certification in Nepal and Asian and South Asian countries like that of India, adoption of that technology for authentication of tissue culture plants, even the indigenous fruits and vegetables, utilize semi-colonial variation in breeding programs, and adoption of GE to understand the gene and their function, and adopting the less controversial technologies like CRISPR for developing new varieties. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Umanath sir. Little bit more time you have taken. Anyway, we are in the delineated time frame, and last presenter of this session, Bhaniswor Pokhrel, Dr. Bhaniswor Pokhrel, and after that, I think group discussion, yeah, and the rapporteur will lead for that, and after that, this presentation, I'll give some words for closing this my chair. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Good afternoon and namaste. I'm Bhanu Pokhrel. I'm here as a farmer. So what I'm going to present, mostly what I see as a farmer, what I feel what I see the problem, and what I think the solution. That's things I'm going to present from what I see as a farmer. So my topics is current status, constraints, opportunity, and way forward for the promotion of protected horticulture in South and Southeast Asia. So shortly, I'm going to discuss a little bit about the background and present status, constraints, opportunity, and way forward. So many people believe climate change lead to rise the temperature, prolong the drought, excess rainfall, and occurrence of some disease and pests, which lead an adverse impact on open field cultivation or open field farming in South and Southeast Asia. Protected cultivation could be an alternative to open field cultivation, because we can protect crop from these things which happen in the open field. It is a method of growing crop under the protected structure. That's why the effect of climate is minimized as the environment is controlled. So protected cultivation is more sustainable, especially in closed system. In a protected horticulture, there are two systems on the basis of application of the water and nutrient, closed system and open system. In a closed system, nutrient and water are circular within a system, which is environmentally friendly and economically sustainable. So the inputs, water, nutrient, and pesticide are utilized more efficiently and improve the productivity with the better quality of the product. And if we increase the productivity with the better quality, that ensures the higher return to the farmer. Growing environment, temperature, humidity, light, air can be regulated partially or fully. It's for the requirement of the crop in high-tech and semi-high-tech condition. So in a high-tech or climate control condition, what we can regulate? We can regulate temperature, light, humidity, soil moisture, nutrient requirement, and CO2. We can regulate in a fully controlled greenhouse or a high-tech greenhouse. We can control these things according to the crop demand. Protected horticulture in Nepal was started with hotbed and low plastic tunnel, especially for raising the crop seedlings. And Lumle Agriculture Research Directorate started protected horticulture for research purpose around 1990s. But for the commercially use of protected cultivation in Nepal was started around 2000 in Lumle, support to commercialization, especially in the beginning, Kaski, Sengja, Parbat, Magdi, and Tanau. In India, it was started early 90s in the British time, but commercialization started around 1990s. If we talk about the area in the global, China is in the top position. The cultivated area, biggest cultivated area. In the South Asia, India is the top position. So protected cultivation in India is estimated around 215,000 hectares, and in Nepal, only about 700 hectares under the protected cultivation. So, but in last 2.5 decades, the area under the protected cultivation in South and Southeast Asia is increased rapidly. During the last 5 years, the naturally ventilated permanent structure increased by 10 to 20% due to the substitute provision rather than farmers' interest, because we have a good subsidies on that structure. And protected cultivation enhance the productivity, quality of the horticultural crops by minimizing the biotic and abiotic stress, but the success rate are varies because of lack of proper design of the protected structure according to the different climatic zone, agroclimatic zone. We have a same design for the temperate or for the dry, and same design we use for the hill and temperate region. Now, GI tunnel, net house, naturally ventilated plastic house, high-tech and semi-high-tech greenhouse are adopted. But if we talk about the benefit-cost ratio, then low-tech plastic tunnel, bamboo and plastic tunnel is more profitable because low investment. Protected horticulture is good, increase the crop productivity, good return, but there are several constraints, several challenges we face, especially structural constraints technical constraints, economical, human resource related, and policy related constraints. If we talk structural constraints, highly erratic weather conditions demand higher crop care and better management, which lead additional cost of crop production, which increase the price per unit product. The occurrence of the pest and disease sometimes exists inside the protected structure because we create the favorable condition inside the structure, like a high temperature and high humidity, especially during the summertime in the Tarai region, in the tropical region. Low crop rotation, because we have a less crop choice for the protected structure, which lead the higher risks of the disease, especially nematodes and soil-borne disease. Post maintenance and cleaning services weak. The roof is covered with the algae, green algae, and which reduce the sunlight inside, that reduce the photosynthesis, and finally reduce the yield and quality of the product. Damage of the protected structure due to the heavy storm and heavy wind, that also because of the poor design of the structure. If we talk about the technical constraints, production of the crop under the protected structure is knowledge and skill intensive. We need an intensive, it is based on the knowledge and skill. Lack of scientific knowledge among the extension worker, agriculture technician, and structure designer and installer. And lack of technical guidance and help to the farmer, and lack of information in our local language to the farmer. And the timely availability and quality planting material at a reasonable price also is a big challenge. No specific breeding work has been done to develop the suitable variety for the protected structure, even though for the popular vegetables like tomato, cucumber, pepper, and eggplant, we don't have done that work. And even we have some variety, their performance are poor because we don't have the pollinator for the protected structure. If we talk about the economical constraints, we required very high initial cost to establish the protected structure, and it's beyond the reach of a small and medium farmer. High cost and unavailability of planting material, water soluble fertilizer, and plant protection chemical. Lack of adequate and timely distribution of the loan and from the bank and financial institution. The complexity of the loan procedure. And lack of the information about the credit and subsidies facility, that also challenge. And we have a very high tax for plastic, net, and GI pipe that heavily used in protected structure to build the protected structure. Up to 54% we have to pay the tax. If we talk about the human-related constraints, lack of protected horticulture expert, researcher, and technician. We don't have the expert. If we have some problem, we don't have an expert to solve the problem. We don't have the lack of the researcher and also technician. Skill and trained manpower, we have lack. If we unavailable, if available, they are expensive. And non-skilled human resource also scarcity during the peak period. It is not only problem in protected horticulture, it is a big problem for the agriculture sector, whole agriculture sector. If we talk about the policy related constraints, lack of the site specific design and of the protected horticulture. I already mentioned we have the same design for all regions. In property subsidies program, only 50% subsidies, which is not suitable for the small farmer. Poor insurance scheme for both insurance and structure and crops. Subsidies focus only structure without any technical help. Our government agency gave the authorities give the subsidies on structure without any technical help. Farmer make the structure, but they don't know how to grow the crop inside the structure and which crop have to grow inside. So they don't have that kinds of the technical knowledge. And no policy for the repair and maintenance. We have a big opportunity. We have a high income because productivity increase up to 5 to 8 times. Off-season and early production can get more price, and plant can grow anywhere in any season if we control the environment, if we control the climate inside, and reduce labor need because less intercultural operation and management, increase the harvesting length of the crop. Because we harvest, if we talk about the tomato, we harvest around 2 to 3 months. If we supply the nutrient through the drip irrigation, we call fertigation, then we can increase the length of the crop cycle. Then we can increase the harvesting length of the crop, which increase the productivity or production of the crop and increase the income. So we have less pesticide use inside the structure, which result low pesticide residue in the product and uniform and better quality. Efficient utilization of the inputs. Fertilizer use efficiency increased by 30%. Water equipment requirement reduced by 50%, and insecticide reduced up to 90%. More young and educated growers are getting involved in protected cultivation. That is research from Indian researcher. They have a more educated people are involving in a protected cultivation as compared to open field cultivation. Way forward, we needs of a separate protected horticulture development units. We have multi-door subsidies program, so we need a separate protected horticulture development units. Needs of research and development to develop a suitable variety for protected structure or register high yielding exotic or improved variety in a fast track. Need our research and development in fertigation formulation and subsidies in water soluble fertilizer. Needs of strong monitoring evaluation mechanism for quality control of the materials. Reduce the tax on material used in protected horticulture with the recommendation of the related authorities. Focus on skill human resource development under research, education, extension for technology generation and dissemination. Revise the course curriculum in agriculture institution to meet the current demand of the knowledge. Development of the learning center on protected cultivation for technology development, dissemination, training and extension. Soft loan or zero interest subsidies for small and medium farmer and easy loan for big farmer. Output based subsidies and increase the subsidy up to 90%, especially for the small farmer. Repair and maintenance of the structure should be included in the policy before construction. So if we give some agreement with some company, then they should have to make a repair for next 5 years or 2 years. We have to make that kind of agreement. Detailed economic analysis is recommended for the protected structure. Needs easy and farmers friendly insurance scheme. Technical support should be included in the subsidies program. So structural demand technology in all dimensions. Thus research and training should be on varietal screening, agronomical practices, nursery raising, horticulture formulation, and repair and maintenance of the structure. Thank you.
Can I start now? Okay, thank you. Bhanu sir, Bhanu Pokhrel sir, Dr. Bhanu Pokhrel. I think I should start now. Okay, let me go over there. Thank you. Thank you very much for 3 presenters. Now I'm, because of my time constraints, I'm going to give some few words about the presentations, and later we'll discuss along with reporters, Anju Adhikari, Srijana Neupane, and Vishal Srestha. Yes? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Distinguished dignitaries from different national and international organizations, professors and other officials from the universities, government officials, and participants in the workshops. And in 3 days workshop, I think it is go up to tomorrow. Yeah, in 3 days workshops, we have different subjects to be discussed and presentations, and to find out way forward about the horticulture. So while talking about the horticulture South Asia regional workshop, I have given a chair to take a chair for the second day's second sessions. And we have altogether 3 presenters: Dr. Durga Devkota, Mr. Umanath Sharma, and Bhanu Pokhrel, Dr. Bhanu Pokhrel. So while talking about the 3 presentations, first of all, I would like to go with the Dr. Durga Devkota. Durga Devkota, and he has presented about the GESI and youth entrepreneurships, and she has presented well, organized presentations. And while talking about the GESI and youth entrepreneurship in horticulture sectors, I think we have a little bit knowledge about the financial and entrepreneurship literacy in Nepalese conditions. And I think it is also in South Asia. I think this prevalent in South Asia also, I think. And as we know that horticulture is the major and very important crop of Nepalese farmers, Nepalese agriculture. And we have while talking about in horticulture, greenhouse technology is one of the promising and most encouraging technologies for the Nepalese young entrepreneurs also. And I think this technologies is attracting to the migrant, those peoples, those who are coming from the abroad job in the Arabian countries and other Malaysian countries like that, and they are coming. After coming back, they are joining with the new technologies that is in protected house also technologies, and they are joining with us. And while talking with this GESI and youth entrepreneurship, we have women friendly equipment and environment we have to generate, and we have to think forward about that. And another one is that the storage and cool chain management technology is one of the promising and needed technology for our in horticulture policy. And another one is the pricing, because of the price constraint and the price problems and the marketing problems, farmers are reluctant going to the adopting new technology in horticulture. And biotechnological improvement in South Asia. Another technology was another presentation was from the Umanath Sharma, and it was very encouraging information for us that they have the different the country have different progress over there. And I think we have a little bit progress in Nepal. And basically we are using this technology in few crops only. In potato, I think in my according to my knowledge, in potato, large cardamom, sugarcane, and banana, we have some progress over there. And in recent years, and private sector is also conducting in floriculture also in such technologies. So that's why the potato is our major importing crops, and it is also contributing to the food security in Nepalese conditions. So that's why I think we should focus on biotechnology on such. Potato and banana also is very important for us, because we are importing very large amount from the from India and other countries. So that's why the major problems in technology, in biotechnology, as we have felt that that is the constraints in the manpower. That we have no skilled manpower for working on biotechnological issue, especially in tissue culture. And one of our project, PMAMP, Prime Minister Agriculture Modernization Project, it has also supported for tissue culture plant distributions, especially in the banana. So it has, I think it is still working on that. So some projects, I think NAFA will also coming in few months, and it will also focusing for the tissue culture plantlets. So that's why some new projects will work for that. And some from the tissue culture or GMO products, and some crops you have mentioned in golden rice, also in Philippines, and in our countries also. QPM, quality protein maize, has also some achievements we have. So that's why, and zinc enriched rice also. So these crops we are still in focusing, and it is in still progress. So so in the biotechnology, I again focus that we need skilled manpower, and because of lack of skilled manpower, experienced manpower, we have we are not getting much progress. So we have to focus on that matters. And third presentation was protected horticultures from the Bhaniswor Pokhrel. I think he's still a pioneer and he's still working in his own entrepreneurship. So he has better experiences, I think, than me. So anyway, I'm as my experiences in agriculture. The major problem in protected agriculture in Nepalese condition is that we have applying blanket technologies, those brought from other countries, especially from India or Israel. So these technology we have getting in, we have brought this technology. They have so they have applied in blanket conditions. In that technology was simultaneously applied in Tarai condition, middle condition, and high yield conditions. So we have we need better research for adaptive research is needed for that. And we have no we have little information about the meteorological information and geographical locations and elevations also, that govern very much on the successful of the protected horticultures, protected structures. So these protected structures, those we have brought from the outside of the countries, they are more costly. So we have to use local materials. There's Bhaniswor have already told that the local technology, bamboo based technology, is very cost effective, because in 2010 I was in Palpa district at Dado, and I have massively distributed to the farmers 6 by 8 meter cultivate the protected structure polyhouse. It was very famous for the tomato off-season cultivations, and it was only cost at that time, it was only 25,000, and it will remain for 2 to 3 years. Life was 2 to 3 years, and it will generate the cost within the single season, and after that it will be more beneficial, it will be extra income for the farmers. That's why we should go, in my experience, we should go for local technologies, not for these protected horticulture or protected structure brought from the outside of the countries, or from the India or other countries. I think the borrowed technologies, I think. And another problem we have found in that was that while we are doing monocrop, and there was the severe attack of disease and pests because of the soil conditions depletions. That's why we have to go for repeated. We have to go not go for repeated cultivation of the same crops in the protected house. And another one is the choice of the crops, profitable crops. In my experiences, if we grow leafy vegetables in September and October for middle conditions in the peri-urban of the cities, for example, Kathmandu and Pokhara, we can get very much earnings from the leafy vegetables, because at that season there are so many festivals. We have this September and October, we have so many festivals, and we demand very highly valuable leafy vegetables. And at that seasons, if we go for that crops, then we can get very lucrative earnings. That's why we have to choose for the crops and seasons for better earnings from the protected horticultures. And another one is the market. For better price, we have to market research. We have to search for the market demand and market price. And after that, and we have to plan for next seasons, and which season have better price for what crops. We have to find out for that. And in this way, if we go for that, then we can get better earnings. And for that, from the government side, we have also some lack of support from technical support from government sides. And Bhaniswor have raised one question. I am very impressed with that. The separate horticulture division is needed for the protected horticulture promotions, and I think it will be very suggestive for us, for the government sides. And that's why I am going to close my sessions, my chairpersonship over here. And I think the rapporteur will collect more informations and suggestions while sitting in the groups. And after that, all the works for this session will be completed, and after that we'll go for launch. Yes, ma'am. Okay. talking with this, I'm going to close these sessions, and I'm very thankful for your patience and very much giving very much your valuable times for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Podel, for your thoughts and for chairing this session and your gracious presence. Now we'll follow the same guideline for the discussion. I think we'll follow the same group, right? Yeah. Okay. For this session, for this session, we have changed the list of the participants and each group will be led by the rapporteurs Anju Adhikari, Shrijana Nupane, and Vishal Shrestha. And in group 1, the list of the participant is Dr. Giridhari Subedi, Mr. Vishal Shrestha, Dr. Hari Krishna Panta, Mr. Ram Bahadur Keshi, Mrs. Morjina Begum, Mrs. Swastika Shrestha, Dr. Janelle Beth Larson, Dr. Ujjal Tiwari, Dr. Narseen Sultana, Mr. Ram Hari Timil Sinha, Dr. Durga Datta Acharya, Mr. Ram Krishna Neupane, Mrs. Rita Sibakoti, Dr. Shankar Raj Barshila, Mrs. Bimla Acharya, and Dr. Bhim Shrestha. For group 2, the list of the participants are Mr. Dhan Bahadur Thapa, Dr. Umesh Acharya, Dr. Kalika Prasad Upadhyay, Dr. Santosh Shrestha, Mr. Lal Bahadur Chetri, Professor Dr. Nanda Joshi, Professor Dr. Elizabeth Mecham, Ms. Srishti Chaudhary, Mr. Sanjay Dhimal, Dr. Kedar Devkota, Dr. Fardowsi Islam, Mrs. Nasunar Neher Begum, Mrs. Rajendra Koirala, Mrs. Mr. Madhav Lamsal, Dr. Bal Krishna Joshi, and Dr. Giridhari Subedi. And the list of the participants for group 3 are Dr. Homnath Giri, Dr. Sundar Tiwari, Dr. Pushpa Paudel, Mr. Manoj Dhital, Dr. Purushottam Khatiwada, Mr. Nitesh Kumar Paudel, Professor Dr. William Vance Bear, Dr. Fardowsi Islam, Mr. Shashank Devkota, Mr. Hikmat Shrestha, Professor Dr. Tamanna Haq, Mr. Basudev Kaple, Dr. Krishna Paudel, Ms. Riti Singh, Mrs. Pramila Wagle, Mr. Dinesh Sapkota, Mr. Anjay Shrestha, and Dr. Rajendra Gautam. And maybe we don't know the overall expertise of yours, and please feel free to join the respective thematic presentation according to your interest and expertise. You may feel free to do that. Thank you.